Greetings, YouTube. Happy Sunday. I just got back from church, and I thus can now review and grade all three of today's bundles. And I do think the title of this video is going to be something to the effect of, today's offers is a sign of things to come. You see, the number one question I've received this week after the release of Act 6 is, Prof, why do you think Kabam made not only the price, but especially the value of the drop rates, particularly for 5 and even 6-star champions, so generous in Cavalier Crystals? Because we are always used to Kabam, whenever they do something that's pro player, that benefits the player seemingly more than benefits Kabam, there's always an ulterior motive. Like normally when they make 4-star offers a lot cheaper, it's because they're going to ban 4 stars. Or my personal favorite, right before patch 12.0, when they finally gave the community essentially the opportunity to awaken any 4-star of their choice, and so many awakened the best 4 stars, particularly Wolverine, Black Widow, Thor, and Scarlet Witch, and even Doctor Strange, then every one of those champions was nerfed to the ground just a couple months later. So on the surface, it's kind of exciting to say, wow, these Cavalier Crystals, especially for people who don't have thousands and thousands of dollars, are fantastic. But what Kabam is doing is fundamentally changing the economy of Marvel Contest of Champions. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, traditionally, they have received so much of their money and their revenue from 5-star and 6-star shard offers. Now, those aren't going away, but when you see that the title of Proven, by completing Act 3, I believe, when you see that there's no divide in the title of those offers between, say, Uncollected and Proven, it's because Kabam is saying we don't expect people who are Cavalier to go after these offers. We're now going to target those shard offers to people who need to beat Act 3 and Act 4 and even Act 5. So what are they going to do to target the people that they're not actually getting their money from that are now Cavalier? Well, here is an unintended consequence from opening so many awesome Cavalier Crystals. You get a ton of amazing champions to rank up. 5-star champions, 6-star champions, maybe even a couple of 4-star champions you didn't have. But Kabam has not dramatically made rank up materials easier to obtain, even though it is much easier now to obtain high quality 5 and 6-star champions. Thus, the scarcity of rank up materials has gone up, and when scarcity goes up in economics, the price point can be pushed above as well, because they know more people are desperate for rank up items, because you could pull that 5-star Medusa for the first time, or maybe that 5-star Stark Spidey, because let's think of a champion that maybe doesn't need to be awakened like Medusa to be amazing, even though people give me some pushback because she's really better for defense awakened, but offense she can still be great unawakened. Fair point. Regardless, we are going to be seeing a lot more rank up offers like this one, because they know that a bunch of people don't have the gold, don't have the Tier 1 Alpha Catalyst, don't have the Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst, don't have the Tier 4 Basic Catalyst, don't have the Tier 4 Class Catalyst, etc. needed to rank up their champions. And I also am going to put these for the quote-unquote in-game community in the context of Cavalier Crystals, because 1,500 units is almost 8 Cavalier Crystals worth of units. And so let's start with the 500. 3 Tier 1 Alphas. By the way, for the record, I think the minimum of every one of these bundles, and you only get to choose one of 3. It's like choose your own adventure in a book. But the minimum should be 5 Tier 1 Alphas, because that's how many you need to take a 5-star to the next rank. So obviously the lesser Catalyst bundle is geared toward more people who aren't even thinking about ranking up 5 stars. They're thinking about ranking up 4 stars and below. So it's a pretty dang pathetic bundle. 3 Tier 1 Alphas, which I value probably right now at not more than 50 units apiece, but probably closer to 20 to 25 units apiece. 1 Tier 4 Basic, which I value at 100 units. And then Tier 3 Class Catalyst Crystals, which they're the crystals you can't choose. And then 50,000 gold. I think this entire thing, retail price, should be 250 to 300 units. And so it is way overpriced. It is for the people who maybe just got a good 4-star for the first time, haven't been playing the game but more than a couple months. It is not a good value, though. Just like When you see problems connecting to the network, that is not a good thing to see pop up in the game either. Now, the middle deal, you double the Tier 4 basics, and you don't double the Tier 1 alphas, ironically. You don't double the Tier 3 class catalyst, but you do get 10 Tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals. Whoopee! This is an even worse deal than the left side because the value doesn't carry over, and you actually get less value for your Tier 1 alphas, your short one. And you also get less value for the Tier 3 class catalysts, which are pretty dang easy to get anyway. So this entire thing is probably only worth about what the price of the left one is. So the left and the middle ones both get failing grades. Now, the far right one, which is the only one that's relevant to many people watching this, you get 10 Tier 1 alphas, which I guess that value is a little bit better than the middle one since the price isn't double, but still, 1,500 units is a lot of units. It's $50 worth of units. 7,200 Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments. Please be clear. For Tier 2 alphas, 1,500 units at this point should get you a fully formed Tier 2 alpha, not 7,200 Tier 2 Alpha Catalyst fragments. So a very pathetic amount of those given the high price. And then the 3 Tier 4 basics. Kabam, are you kidding me? There should be at least 5 minimal in this offer. You have asked for 500 more units and you've only increased that by 1 from the middle offer. That is really stupid. And then 20 Tier 4 class Catalyst fragment crystals. Let me say this too. For the price of this, there should be at minimum at least 1 fully formed Tier 4 class Catalyst crystal. None of these BS ugly fragment crystals that are going to give you almost nothing per crystal. And then 250,000 gold, which that should also be at least 500,000 gold. All 3 of these offers get a big fat F. But the problem is people will still be tempted to buy them because of the scarcity of rank up resources and the amount of quality 5 and 6 star champions that so many summoners who have beaten at least one initial full path of Act 6 Chapter 1 have a need for their new champions. So, again, the economy of Marvel Contest of Champions has changed. It has never been more needed to have rank up materials. Kabam knows this. They're going to be gouging the community in offers like this, which on paper absolutely have a failing grade, but you either buy them or you have to wait for Alliance Quest to end, which thankfully we will get glory from the final day of Alliance Quest today, or you're just going to have a lot more patience. And the problem with offers, and the problem really with the human condition, if you will, is that we're just not very patient people. If you have a great champion, you want to rank them up today. You don't want to patiently wait, and that's where people get in trouble because they end up spending a terrible amount of units or cash on terribly overpriced offers, but they'd rather do it to have that champion ranked up today than wait a couple weeks and have that champion ranked up for free. So there you have it, YouTube. Failing grades, and yet because the economy of the game has changed, this is still going to be tempting for people who wailed out on Cavalier Crystals and are out of Tier 4 Basics or Tier 1 Alphas or whatever you want to look at as far as the rank up material. Kabam! You deserve to give us a much better offer, especially for 1,500 units, but I realize that until people don't buy these, the price point won't go down. So please, if you're watching this, don't get these. Encourage Kabam to give us a much better and fairer price. And otherwise, have a great Sunday. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend.